Imagine walking into a pharmacy in 1890. You have a persistent cough. The pharmacist hands you a bottle of Bayer heroin. Your child has a toothache. You buy cocaine drops at the counter. No prescription. No warning labels. No social stigma. We are taught to look at this era as a time of dangerous ignorance. We believe we escaped a dark age of poison to reach the light of modern science. This is a lie. We didn't just stop using dangerous drugs. We lost the most sophisticated understanding of natural synergy ever possessed by humanity. Modern pharma is a collection of isolated molecules designed for mass production. Old medicine was a complex biological language. We traded the cure for the commodity. Chapter 1: The Great Chemical Divorce. Every modern pill is a single note. An 1850s tincture was a symphony. When you take an aspirin today, you take one isolated molecule, acetylsalicylic acid. When a 19th century doctor used willow bark, he was administering over 100 different compounds. Nature never creates a pure chemical. It creates a system. This is the synergy principle. Modern science calls it the Entourage Effect. In the old pharmacies, the active ingredient was surrounded by buffers. These secondary components protected the stomach, balanced the blood pressure, and regulated the liver. We stripped the protectors away to make the medicine easier to patent. We created silver bullets. The problem with silver bullets is they eventually hit the patient too. Chapter 2: The Heroin Cough Syrup. In 1898, the Bayer Company marketed heroin as a non-addictive substitute for morphine. They recommended it for children. We see this as a peak of pharmaceutical irresponsibility. But look at the data. The massive addiction crises we see today didn't exist in 1900. Why? The delivery method was the key. Heroin was sold as a diluted syrup. It was taken orally. It passed through the digestive system. The liver processed it slowly. Today's crisis is built on concentrated, synthetic powders and injections. The old pharmacists understood dosage and medium. They treated the body as a slow-moving biological sea. We treat it like a high-speed chemical reactor. We didn't ban the substance because it was evil. We banned it because we forgot how to use it safely in its natural, diluted state. Chapter 3: The Coca Leaf Anomaly. Cocaine is the most feared substance in modern law enforcement. In 1885, it was an ingredient in tonic wines and throat lozenges. Here is the anomaly. In the Andes, people have chewed coca leaves for thousands of years. They don't have heart attacks. They don't have crack houses. They have high energy and perfect dental health. The leaf contains the chemical. But the leaf is not the drug. Western medicine isolated the alkaloid. They removed the fiber, the minerals, and the secondary alkaloids that regulate heart rate. They turned a sacred tool into a biological weapon. We are told the old medicine was dirty because it wasn't pure. The truth is exactly the opposite. Its impurity was its safety. The pure chemicals of today are the most toxic substances in history. Chapter 4: The Patent Trap. Why did we move from complex plant extracts to isolated powders? Follow the money. You cannot patent a willow tree. You cannot own the rights to a poppy field. To make a billion-dollar industry, you must invent something that doesn't exist in nature. You must isolate a molecule or create a synthetic analog. Modern medicine isn't based on what works best. It is based on what can be legally owned. In 1910, the Flexner Report was published. It restructured medical education in the United States. Almost overnight, herbalism, homeopathy, and natural medicine were labeled quackery. The schools that taught them were closed. Only the schools funded by oil and chemical magnates survived. We didn't evolve into modern pharma. We were sold into it. Chapter 5: The Wisdom of the Poison. Old pharmacies were full of substances we now consider toxic. Mercury, arsenic, lead. We laugh at the primitive doctors who prescribed them. But look at modern chemotherapy. We use mustard gas derivatives and heavy metals to cure cancer. The logic is identical. The difference is the scale. Old doctors used microdosing before it was a trend. They understood that the difference between a medicine and a poison is only the dose. They used homeopathic resonance. They believed that if a substance caused a symptom in a healthy person, a tiny amount could cure it in a sick person. Modern science dismisses this. Yet, every vaccine works on the exact same principle. We use the old logic while calling it new technology. Chapter 6: The Forgotten Alchemy of the Liver. The modern pill is designed for bioavailability. This means it is engineered to survive the stomach and hit the bloodstream as fast as possible. This is a biological assault. In the 1800s, medicines were often prodrugs. They were inactive until they met the specific enzymes in your gut. They required the body's participation to work. Today, the medicine does the work, and the body becomes a passive spectator. This has led to the lazy immune system syndrome. We are the most medicated generation in history, yet we have the highest rates of chronic illness. We have replaced the body's internal pharmacy with a subscription service. Chapter 7: The Cannabis Gap. For 5,000 years, cannabis was in the top 3 most prescribed medicines on Earth. In the 19th century, it was the standard treatment for migraines, insomnia, and muscle spasms. It was in every apothecary cabinet. Then it vanished. Not because a better medicine was found, but because the cotton and nylon industries needed it gone. We lost a century of research on the most complex plant-human relationship in history. When we rediscovered it recently, we treated it like a new discovery. It wasn't. We were just coming out of a chemically induced amnesia. But there is one specific extract from that era that we still haven't figured out. Chapter 8: The Secret of the 1860 Tincture. I found a recipe from a London pharmacy manual dated 1862. It was for neuralgia relief. It contained ingredients that modern chemistry says should neutralize each other. It combined acidic plant bases with alkaline minerals in a way that should be inert. But it wasn't. When tested in a private lab, this mixture created a bioavailable salt that is 50 times more effective at crossing the blood-brain barrier than modern painkillers. It doesn't use opiates. It doesn't use synthetics. It uses a specific fermentation process of the plant material that we no longer use in factories. Factories need speed. This medicine needed time. We have traded curing time for shelf life. Imagine if you could heal without the side effect list that takes up half the commercial. Imagine if the medicine didn't just hide the pain but taught the body how to stop producing it. This isn't science fiction. It is a discarded history. We are standing on a mountain of forgotten data, and the pharmaceutical industry is holding the map upside down. You think you are protected by the FDA? You are actually being restricted by them. They have redefined medicine so narrowly that 90% of the Earth's healing potential is now illegal to discuss. I'm going to show you a specific substance that was in every household in 1910. It was used to treat everything from infections to depression. Today, if you are caught with it, you could face 10 years in prison. And the reason for its ban had nothing to do with health. It had to do with a secret discovery made in a laboratory in 1924 that threatened to make the entire burgeoning antibiotic industry obsolete before it even started. This substance is the key to why old medicine worked and why new medicine is failing us in the face of superbugs. But to understand it, we have to look at the one thing modern doctors are taught to ignore. Modern doctors are taught to ignore the soil. They only look at the seed. This is the great divide between 1910 and today. In the early 20th century, medicine focused on the terrain. This is the environment inside your body. If the environment is healthy, the bacteria cannot grow. It is like a swamp. You don't kill the mosquitoes. You drain the swamp. Chapter 1: The Molecule War. In 1924, a massive shift occurred in the laboratory. Researchers discovered that they could isolate a single active molecule from a plant. This sounds like progress. It was actually a trap. plants contain hundreds of chaperone molecules. These chaperones prevent side effects. They guide the medicine to the target. They protect the liver. The pharmaceutical industry realized they couldn't patent a whole plant. They could only patent a single, isolated molecule. So they stripped away the protection. They gave us the bullet, but took away the vest. This is why modern drugs have lists of side effects that are longer than the benefits. We are taking naked chemicals. 19th century pharmacies sold clothed medicine. The difference is the survival of your organs. The substance I mentioned is raw, full-spectrum hemproot oil mixed with silver salts. In 1910, this was the gold standard for internal infections. It worked because of a 1 in a billion biological loophole. Bacteria can develop resistance to a single chemical. They cannot develop resistance to a complex botanical symphony. They get confused. Chapter 2: The 1924 Sabotage. The discovery made in 1924 was that silver and specific plant alkaloids create an electrical short circuit in pathogens. It didn't just poison the bacteria. It changed the electrical frequency of the cell membrane. The bacteria simply stopped vibrating. They died instantly. This threatened the entire antibiotic industry before it even began. Why sell a permanent cure for 5 cents when you can sell a temporary treatment for $50? The ban wasn't about safety. It was about standardization. Factories cannot handle natural variation. One harvest of a plant might have 3% of a compound. The next might have 5%. This system demands 4% every time. To achieve this, they kill the plant and replace it with a synthetic copy made from petroleum. Yes. Your modern medicine is often a byproduct of the oil industry. Write in the comments, would you rather take a natural extract that varies slightly or a perfectly consistent oil-based synthetic? Most people choose the synthetic because they were told nature is unreliable. That is the biggest lie in the history of health. Chapter 3: The Superbug Trap. We are currently facing a crisis of superbugs. These are bacteria that laugh at our strongest antibiotics. This was predicted in the 1920s. Scientists then warned that isolating molecules would train bacteria to fight back. They were ignored. Old pharmacies used living medicine. They used tinctures that were fermented for months. These tinctures contained enzymes we haven't even named yet. When you took a dose of 19th century medicine, you were introducing a foreign intelligence into your body. It was a biological software update. Modern pills are just delete keys. They delete the pain. They delete the bacteria. They also delete your gut flora. Imagine humanity forgot how to build houses and started living in cardboard boxes. That is the state of our medicine. We have lost the architecture of healing. We have replaced it with disposable chemical patches. The chance of a modern drug actually curing a chronic condition is almost zero. They are designed for management. Management is a business term. It is not a medical term. Chapter 4: The Electrical Body. The one thing your doctor won't tell you is that you are an electrical being. Your heart beats because of an electrical pulse. Your nerves are wires. 19th century medicine understood this. They used minerals and resins to restore the charge of the body. Today, we treat the body like a fermentation tank of chemicals. If you are depressed, they give you a chemical for your brain. If you have a fever, they give you a chemical for your blood. They never ask why the electrical potential dropped. In 1890, a pharmacist would give you a preparation of gold and frankincense. Science today is rediscovering that gold nanoparticles can kill cancer cells without touching healthy ones. We knew this 130 years ago. We didn't need a multi-billion-dollar lab. We needed a mortar and a pestle and time. We traded wisdom for data. The data is bought and paid for. The wisdom was free. Chapter 5: The Cost of Progress. The medical industry is now the third leading cause of death in some developed countries. This is an anomaly. It is a statistical nightmare. How can the cure be the killer? It happens because we have removed the safety brakes of nature. When you take an old world tincture, your body recognizes it as food. It knows how to process it. When you take a modern synthetic, your body treats it as a toxin. The liver goes into overdrive. The kidneys strain. You solve one problem and create 3 new ones. This is the side effect loop. It is a perfect business model. It is a terrible healing model. We have lost the ability to use the earth's pharmacy. We have been taught to fear the very things that kept our ancestors alive for millennia. They weren't lucky to survive without modern medicine. They were resilient because of it. Final reflections. I am not telling you to throw away your prescriptions. I am not a doctor, and I am not giving medical advice. Modern medicine is incredible for trauma. If I am in a car accident, take me to a modern hospital. But if I have a chronic illness, I want to know what the people in 1910 knew. We are standing on a mountain of forgotten data. The pharmaceutical industry is holding the map upside down. We have been sold a version of history where we were saved by synthetics. The truth is more complex. We were moved from a system of self-healing to a system of chemical dependence. I don't claim this is the ultimate truth. I'm just sharing reflections. Do your own research. Look at the ingredients of medicines from 1880. Ask why they were removed. The answers might change how you look at a pharmacy forever.